Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special guest. It's John from the JCCBM YouTube channel. He's a guy that speedruns languages on Twitch, and he also uploads that to his YouTube channel, and I thought that it'd be great to speak to him to learn a little bit more about how he does that and how he learns those languages quickly. Welcome to my channel, John. How are you?
Hello, thanks for having me, and I'm very well. What about you? How are you doing?
Pretty well as well, thank you. I find your channel very exciting, and I wanted to first off begin by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and where you're from, how you got into all these languages.
Well, that's quite a story. I was born in Venezuela, so I'm a native Spanish speaker. And I have studied English basically my entire life. I lived in Canada when I was a toddler. I don't even remember. But, quite likely it still helped me in my English learning experience. And to be honest, I only spoke those two languages for the majority of my life. It wasn't until maybe university when I started getting a little bit interested in languages. I took an Italian course in uni, and I started doing German by myself out of curiosity. I studied the Cyrillic alphabet out of curiosity. And I was just all over the place. I never really fully committed to learning a specific language. And, I just kind of enjoyed doing a little bit of everything, Of course, it's not the best idea to be just all around the place, right? But I just enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing a little bit of everything. And, here I am. A couple years later, I saw a video of someone speedrunning Duolingo, which is just doing Duolingo lessons as fast as your brain can handle it. And I just fell in love. It was so fun. It was so amusing to watch. It was so appealing to me also. And so I just tried it. I just gave it a try. I'm quite decent at memorizing things, so it was very appealing to me, just to put my memory to test and also explore a little bit of all of these languages that I was interested in. So I just did it. I just started with Russian. It was my first one, and I loved it so much that the first day I did it, I did 3 languages in a row, back to back, and it was amazing. And I even started spinning a roulette just to, I put all of the languages in Duolingo on a roulette, and whichever language I randomly got in the roulette was the one I was going to do. And yeah, that first day I did Russian, and then I got Dutch, and then I got Czech, and it was amazing. I really, really loved it. And I actually spent about 6 to 7 hours on that stream, and it was very exhausting, but it was quite cool.
Wow. And at this point, what would you say, which ones of those have you managed to learn how to speak to, a level to get by in that language?
Mostly none of them, to be honest. I've learned quite a few things in most of them, and I wouldn't really feel comfortable speaking, having a conversation in almost any of them, to be honest. In terms of which one I can somewhat have a conversation or communicate myself, of course, it's English and Spanish, Italian, since I studied that in uni, German in a very chaotic and basic level, and Portuguese I kind of find easy. Being a Spanish speaker, Italian and Portuguese are it's just a small step outside of Spanish. And I'm also doing Catalan right now because I live in Catalonia, and it's quite useful, and it's also kind of an interesting language, a good mixture of Spanish, French, and some other stuff.
Yeah, very nice. I think what I really like about that is, for you, it's not as important to reach some end goal of fluency or something like that, but to have fun with the languages, right? Because that's what I'm guessing by listening to you.
You're absolutely correct. There's really no goal. I'm not pretending to get to a point where I can communicate or even speak all of these 25 languages. Some of them I only learned a handful of words. It's just for the fun of it. Yeah, it's just the thrill of trying to hammer yourself with information in a short amount of time. While people watch you live, and it's kind of funny because I suffer a lot, and I guess it's fun to watch people suffer. But yeah, I mean, even though I don't have the ability to communicate in most of these languages, I'm more than okay with just, knowing how to say dumb Duolingo phrases like the big horse is not reading the newspaper, or I don't know, the woman does not like cheese. That's all I'm in for. It's just, yeah, that's all I'm in for, really. I wouldn't ask anything else.
So with this speed running that you do of languages, I think I'd be interested for my viewers to hear a bit more about it, because usually what I always say is like I talk about how I really like picking up the language core, picking up the basics before moving on to a lot of input, because I'm very input based. But I feel like we are all looking forward to just getting that base so that we can move on to more interesting stuff in language learning and actually having fun with the language. So the quicker we get it, the better. I think we all want that. And so what do you think with speed running? How does it work? And do you think that it can help you like get the basics quickly so that you can move on to more interesting things?
That's such a good question, because in the end, I think what makes this the most appealing to people, maybe even for me when I started watching them, it's just that it's everyone's dream to learn a language fast. But anyone who's really learned a language knows it doesn't work like that. It's not a fast process. It's a slow process. You really need, diligence, dedication, and passion mostly. I've heard you speak a lot about passion, and how it's one of the most important things, right? If you really like it, you're probably going to be more motivated to do it. As long as you have fun while you're having that experience, it's all probably going to be fine. It's going to be quite useful. But yeah, as I've said, I've gotten the hang of it. I'm quite good at memorizing, as I said before, and I've also developed quite a few tricks that help me, because it's not about memorizing, it's about memorizing fast, right? So some of these tricks are maybe useless in reality, but in terms of memorizing things fast, they're quite useful. I've got a couple of examples, and I'm never going to forget these. In Slavic languages, I learned it with Czech, but it's helped me with Ukrainian and Polish as well. But when I first encountered the word stara or study, which is old, I just related it with stars. And, I like astronomy, so it's just stars are old. That's basically the catchphrase. Stars are old, right? So any variation of that word, I just think of old, right? It's depending on, those languages have a lot of cases and stuff, but study, stara, starzy, I think, starsha, and even in Russian, I think it's related to that. So, it's not really related to it. It's just a trick I have in my mind. Just, I hear that, think of star, think of old. I know that word means old. Another good example I have, this one I liked. In Arabic, the word for cold, the one that Duolingo teaches you, is berid, right? That's very bad pronunciation, but it sounds very much like buried, right? Buried under the sand or under the ground. And I just remember, there's quite a neat trick, and they do this in the desert, actually. Like, if you need to keep things cold, you can actually bury them under the sand, because the sand is quite isolating in terms of temperature. So if you bury things below the sand, they actually stay quite cold. Maybe not cold, but, they don't get as hot. And it's also a neat trick for the beach. If you ever get some beers and don't have, a cooler or something, you could just, grab the bag of the beers, dig a somewhat big hole, put them in, It's going to be sandy, of course, but they're going to keep cold. You're going to keep the temperature quite nice in there. And so, it's just relationships in general. I'll never forget also how to say supper in Polish, which is kolacja, because anyone who knows Italian out there knows that colazione is actually breakfast in Italian, right? So it's very similar words, even though it's breakfast and dinner, but I understand they share the same root. It comes from Latin, both of them. But, those sort of relationships between words and languages and associations with fictional or even real things help me a lot memorizing on the go. And I always speak that and kind of explain it out loud when I do my speedruns. And Greek was also a beautiful example for that. It's kind of obvious, but it's more than fictional, it's real, right? Because in reality, there's so much language that comes from Greek. So the two examples I can think of are gala, which is milk in Greek. I relate it to galaxy, and actually that's where it comes from. The name galaxy, I don't remember what it means, but it's something related to milk. It's like milky thing. And actually the name Milky Way is also related to it. So I even think saying the Milky Way galaxy is somewhat of a redundancy, but I'm not sure. And the other one I can think of is pedia, which is child, right? And because pedia just sounds like pediatrician, or pediatra in Spanish also, right? And it's because of that. It's the root of the word pediatra, or pediatrician, is pedia, which is a Greek word for children. So again, Greek is like a real world example, but there are some fictional ones that I kind of love. It's just fake associations I make up.
And so how is it that you're able to speedrun and to do that? Because I think like I've never been able to just do that super intensive thing, because I usually find myself, I don't know, I suppose distracted or something. So when you do this speedrun, how does it work for you? And like, what tips can you give for people that also want to, like, you know, sit down and speedrun this language so that they can get the basics quickly?
I mean, the best advice is the cheesiest advice, which is just do it. Just open Duolingo. Try to do as fast as you can. If you're struggling, if you're not having a good time, just stop. It's not an obligation, right? But yeah, just do it. See if you have fun. See if you like it. It is kind of fun to see how much you can retain or absorb in a small window of time. Because when I did it the first time, for example, I didn't really know what to expect, how long it would take, or anything, to be honest. And I started with Russian, as I said before, which was kind of cheating. Most people know this who interact in chat. But it's kind of cheating because, as I told you, I learned the Cyrillic alphabet beforehand 9 or 10 years ago. But it wasn't from scratch. I wasn't learning from scratch. I could understand the sounds and the letters. I didn't know the language. I just knew the phonetics. So it was still kind of a head start, and it allowed me to do it faster. And doing the first unit took me about an hour and a half, a little bit less, which is not that much in terms of language learning. As I said, anyone who's studied languages knows that an hour and a half is just a small window of time you can dedicate to it. But yeah, it's mostly just about finding the time and allocating it to language learning, whatever method you want to use, right? Also, setting your limitations. Because, for example, in my case, my speedruns, I only do checkpoint 1, which is usually 11 to 12 units, 4 to 5 lessons each. So it's a lot of lessons, right? But, I mean, you could do more, you could do less. It doesn't really matter. It usually takes me anywhere between 50 minutes to 3 hours, depending on the difficulty of the language. My fastest one so far is Portuguese. It took me, I think, 54 minutes. And the slowest one was Czech. It took me almost 3 hours. It was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something.
Yeah, for sure. But because you've dipped your toe in so many languages, so what would you say that you have learned from that about languages in general? Because I'm interested to hear your perspective, because it's quite a few. You mentioned like over 25 at this point. So I'm sure you've noticed some things about languages. Just anything you've noticed, I'd love to hear, since it's quite the sample size.
There's so many things I've noticed, and that's what I enjoy the most about it. Just finding weird things, finding patterns, understanding why things work that way. Because, in the end, it kind of helps you as well to put yourself in the shoes of others, right? Because I was an English teacher for quite a while. And sometimes it's hard to understand why people see things or struggle with some things. But when you understand another language and how things work in that language, you can see like, oh, that's why they see this that way, or that's why this is so hard for them. And I've learned quite a lot of things, quite a lot of fun facts. I've been very interested in the phonetics as well. I've been delving deep into pronunciation, phonetics, the vowel charts, the consonant charts. It's quite complex, but it's awoken even more interest interest in languages for me. I have quite a weird repository of phrases I can say in all of these languages. And it's very funny because there's many languages where I cannot even introduce myself, but I could just say some random phrase like the telephone is on the chair, or any Duolingo phrase you learn. So it's very, very funny. Yeah, and it's kind of amazing just to know a little bit about all of these languages. And even though it's not very deep or very conversational, right? Just having a glimpse of them and knowing a little bit, and maybe even look at a word and have an educated guess at how to pronounce it, right? Just knowing a little bit of the phonology and the how to interpret some of the sounds and combinations of sounds, which is kind of interesting as well. I think that's something people have commented a lot about, because pronunciation is not usually the first thing you do when learning a language, right? I mean, it's always important to somewhat pronounce it correctly, but most people don't focus on that, right? I would even recommend pronunciation to be one of the last things you do, right? It's just to polish a language. Like once you're able to communicate at a basic level, you can start figuring out more about the pronunciation. And not only that, but I think it's also one of the hardest things for many people. Just, the rules and grammar can be easy sometimes, or it could be hard as well. It depends on the person. But I've seen many people struggle with pronunciation, and some languages are very not friendly to pronunciation, very unfriendly to pronunciation. Like English, actually, it's one of them, or French.
Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, so what I wanted to do with you is to have this challenge of like guessing what language we're hearing, playing that game, because I'm probably not gonna do very well because I've only ever learned Indo-European languages, but I have you here to help, and since you have like quite a variety of languages you've learned, I think it'll be fun to see how we do, how well we do, how badly we do, I don't know. So what do you think? Should we start off with something easier and then move on to something harder for the language game?
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
Okay, let's begin. All right. So first language.
王振亚，李王自去年7月1号在堪培拉国会宣誓就任代表西澳洲的参议员之后，于
All right, well.
Damn, that was a full story.
Yeah, I think that's one pretty easy.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say that's Chinese.
Yep. I hope it doesn't have dialects and stuff, because I'm pretty sure that's Mandarin. But if they put Cantonese or something, we're screwed maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I've never studied it. Have you speedrun it?
Yes. I did it very recently, actually. It was
okay, cool.
too hard.
That's a correct answer then. Here we go. All right, next one.
Den fælles forståelse af disse rettigheder og friheder er af den største betydning for den fulde virkeliggørelse af denne forpligtelse, proklamerer plenarforsamlingen derfor nu denne verdenserklæring om menneskerettighederne som et fælles mål for alle folk og alle nationer.
Okay, well that sounded Germanic to me.
Yeah, sounds like Danish, but I might need to hear it again. Also, there are options, right? Because I cannot see the options.
Right, there's options. The options are like Danish, Vietnamese, and Polish.
Yeah, sounds like Danish for sure.
Yeah. I would say, I'm sorry, I'm gonna read out the options from now on. I forgot we don't share the screen. All right. Next one, Thai, Japanese, or Russian.
原爆投下以来の2週間ほどで科学者たちはこの壊滅した町に長くいられないことが分かった。めまい、頭痛が彼らを襲った。ちょっとした虫刺されが広く腫れて治らなくなった。科学者たちの健康はこうして徐々に悪くなっていった。そして科学者たちは空から降ってきたあの新しい恐怖がもたらすもう一つの尋常でない影響を。
So what do you think?
So long though, but that sounded Japanese for sure.
Yeah, I've never like studied either Thai or Japanese, but like it sounded more Japanese, so yay, here we go, that's correct. So far, so good.
As I understand, that's perfect. As I understand it, Thai is, I don't know much about it, but it's a highly tonal language, I think, so it should be easy to recognize phonetically. I think.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right, next one.
Ruotsi on aloittanut määräaikaiset rajatarkastukset tarkoituksenaan saada kasvaneet turvapaikanhakijamäärät hallintaan. Lastensuojelun ammattilaiset pelkäävät, että soten tulo vie palvelut yhä kauemmaksi perheiltä. Ja puolustusvoimat pyrkii yhteistyöhön nuorten IT-alan osaajien kanssa.
So that's supposed to be Finnish, Danish, or Polish.
I was about to tell you, don't tell me the options because that's Finnish for sure.
Okay, well then,
100%.
yeah. I wasn't as sure as you, but like I was like, it doesn't sound Germanic. If it were Polish, I would understand it, so I did not have your confidence for sure.
Finnish is awesome. I always say it's like a magical language because it doesn't sound like anything at all.
Yeah. All right, do you want to try something harder?
Sure, let's crank it up.
Let's go to medium.
And,
yeah.
If it gets too easy, it's not a bad idea to do it without options, without knowing the options. Because I'm pretty sure we could have done most of them without options.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure that the game offers that option. But it's just like it asks you to pick which one of the three options it is. So, okay, so next one is going to be Greek, Macedonian, or Maltese. I think that one should be easy, but let's see.
Κύριε Ντίνο Καρύδη, είσαστε ένας από τους πιο αγαπητούς και δημοφιλείς ηθοποιούς. Και έχουμε τη χαρά να συμμετάσχετε τώρα και σε μία ταινία που έχουν δημιουργήσει Έλληνο-Αυστραλοί.
Alright, so.
Pretty straightforward. That's Greek if I've ever heard it.
Yeah. It's one of the... Well, it might be my favorite language at the moment, so...
Oh, really?
There's no mistaking that.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Greek. Like, my first language passion was Spanish, but then, obviously having learned it, you kind of start switching to other languages, and right now, my biggest passion is Greek.
No, that's perfect. Yeah. And it's... many people say this, and I agree as well, that strictly phonetically, Greek and Spanish are very much in line.
Yeah, I agree. Phonetically speaking, for sure. Yeah. Well, I don't know. We got to the medium level, but I think this is going to be easy too, because it's Portuguese, Spanish, or Mongolian. So, yeah. But let's see.
Let's do it.
Considerando que los Estados miembros se han comprometido a asegurar en cooperación...
Okay, I'm not even gonna... No, I'm just gonna click on...
Just click it.
Yeah. Let's see. Slovak, Swedish, or Hindi?
Sjön också, det är mycket, jag tänkte på båtolyckor, det är mycket alkohol med i bilden när det gäller båtolyckor i Sverige. Men vad jag har förstått så har det gått neråt. Och jag har förstått så den här sommaren, många...
Yeah, I think I won Swedish.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so next one is Bengali, Albanian, or Serbian?
Qeveria federale thot se taksat nuk do të sjellin të ardhurat të mjaftueshme. Ato kanë rënë që në muajin maj e do të ulen akoma më shumë me 33 miliard dollar në 4 vitet e ardhshme. Papunësia do të arrijë deri në 6.25% dhe rritja ekonomike do të jetë e ulët. E megjithatë, ajo premton se buxheti do të kalojë në deficit zero në vitin 2016-2017. Qeveria federale mbetet e vendosur që të bëjë reforma në arsim, të vazhdoj skemën për të paaftët dhe të mbaj marrëveshjen me Papua Guinene Re dhe Naurun. Për t'i bërë këto, asaj duhet të gjejë 17.4 miliard dollar.
Well, I don't think it matters to listen that much because this is very hard actually.
What were the options again?
Like Bengali, Albanian, and Serbian. And I'm gonna say it's not Serbian because I would understand it if it were Serbian.
Sure.
But then Bengali and Albanian...
I'm very hesitant
not sure.
to say Bengali, but I'm not certain at all.
I'm not
Mostly
certain either.
because I heard a couple of retroflex sounds with their T's and D's.
Oh. Well, do you know if it's Indo-European?
I don't know. Bengali? Yeah. It's quite close to, I think, most of the major dialects in India, at least Hindi.
let's go for it then. Because it sounded Indo-European and familiar, and I'm not sure Albanian is Indo-European.
I don't
What
know
might be?
anything about
Not sure.
Albanian. Could be.
Same. Okay, let's go with Bengali. Ah, that was Albanian.
It was Albanian.
Okay. Yeah, that's how little I know about that. It's a little weird because I have been around Albanians quite a lot, especially in my university years, and I still couldn't guess it.
I think
Well,
I'm
it's a
not
tough one.
lying if I told you that it's literally the first time in my life that I've heard Albanian. It makes sense. We didn't get it. It didn't sound like Bengali though. I was hesitant.
Yeah. Well, shame on me, though. Anyways, next one is Czech, Albanian, or Italian. So that, I think, should be easy.
Quando Obama fu eletto presidente, tutto il mondo ne fu entusiasta. La sua elezione segnava l'inizio di...
Okay, yeah, we can just click this one. Yeah. Okay, so, well, except for Albanian, I think we've been doing pretty well for now, so let's kick it up a notch to hard and see how we do. Okay, ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it, yeah.
د لیدا پلار د خپلې لور پر فراغت خوښ دی او وایي چې ښځو ته باید د زده کړو او کار ازادي ورکړل سي. د کابل پوهنتون په چوکاټ کې د جنډر او ښځو زده کړو د ماسټرۍ کورس چې د ملګرو ملتونو پراختیایي پروګرام او کوریا جمهوریت په مرسته پیل شوی په لومړۍ دوره کې 22 تنه فارغ کړل چې 15 یې ښځې دي.
So that's Burmese, Slovenian, or Pashto? I'm really not sure.
I don't know anything about Burmese. It's somewhat close to India, and it sounded South Asian-ish.
Yeah, what about Pashto? Because I don't know much about that. Like, I know it's not Slovenian, but that's about
It's
it.
not Slovenian for sure.
So,
Pashto. Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't even remember what Pashto is.
same.
So it could be. Let's just go for Burmese.
Okay.
It's probably
Let's just do it.
Pashto.
I don't have a good guess. I'm like, I don't know. Burmese, wouldn't it be a bit... I don't know why I want to say that it's a bit more like towards some of like an Asian language group rather than Indo-European or something. And if Pashto is Indo-European, that could be Pashto, but I just don't know enough. Okay, should we just go for Burmese or Pashto?
Yeah, it could be any. I don't remember what region
Same.
Pashto is from,
Yeah, well,
but it could be either, I
okay, let's
guess.
go for Burmese. It's Pashto. Yeah,
Yeah, makes sense.
okay, well,
Damn.
this is harder. That's good.
I was think, yeah, for sure. Maybe Burmese is more Southeast Asian, exactly.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I got no idea, but it might be closer to Thai.
Yeah,
Vietnamese,
that's how I
even
imagine it,
Tibetan
but
languages.
who knows? But yeah. Anyways, we have Amharic, Uzbek, or Croatian now. So let's see.
Pisivanje na popis birača u vrijeme saveznih izbora obvezno za australske državljane starije od 18 godina. Obrasci za
Okay, yeah, that's Croatian.
It is Croatian,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a Serbian song, but it's very much the same, right? Very similar.
Yeah, like, I really like when they call them Serbo-Croatian, because it's just...
Yeah,
I
makes
like
sense.
that, you know, it's continuum, so I agree with that. And yeah, we're correct. Okay. Okay, so that I actually don't know how to read. It's Asignes. It's Acehnes. Asignes, or sounds really. And then there's Esperanto and Armenian. So, yeah, let's see.
Legata de Arono Chapman, Vancouvero, Canado, Oktobro 2006. Universala Deklaracio de Homaj Rajtoj de Unuiĝintaj Nacioj, adoptita kaj proklamita de Rezolucio 217 A3 de la Generala.
Okay. What do you think? I'm like...
I haven't done it, but I know for sure that Esperanto is kind of a recollection of Latin and some other big languages. So that's very much what it sounds like. So it's got to be Esperanto.
Yeah, to me as well. It sounded familiar, but not quite. And the truth is, I've never studied a constructed language before. And I don't think I ever will. I think that's the only language I won't study. And I know that sounds very weird, especially because many polyglots study it. But yeah, personally, not... I don't know, I need
Unfortunately, I am doomed in that realm. Because my only objective is to finish all languages in Duolingo. And there's 3 constructed languages. I already did 1, but I have 2 left still.
Oh, what is it besides Esperanto?
It's Esperanto, High Valerian, which I already did.
But that's fun. Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
That's fun. Yeah. And what else?
And, what's the third one? Klingon.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm not very interested in, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Now, Assyrian, Farsi, or Kurdish? That's going to be tough.
تغییرات آب و هوایی نیز یکی از مواردی است که از چند سال پیش تا کنون نقش عمده‌ای را در شکل دهی به چشمانداز سیاست ایفا کرده است و به همین دلیل آقای راد پس از انتخاب مجدد خود به عنوان رهبر حزب کارگر برتری جناح ائتلافی در این خصوص را و آن هم با پایان دادن به برنامه مالیات کربن و حرکت به سمت بهای شناور کربن در سال 2014 و آن هم 1 سال پیش از زمان برنامه ریزی شده خود تقلیل داد.
What are the options again? I don't think it's Farsi.
I agree. Assyrian, Farsi, or Kurdish. And Farsi is like, this did not sound Indo-European, so I don't think it's Farsi. But Kurdish or Assyrian, I don't actually know what language family Kurdish belongs to. I think Assyrian is a Semitic language, if I'm not mistaken. This did sound kind of Semitic, but Kurdish, I'm not sure.
I've got no idea.
Same.
I'm trying to look like I'm thinking, but my brain is empty right now.
Mine too. It's like, it's not Farsi. That's it. Okay, well, it's a 50-50 chance.
I would go for Kurdish.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just have
Same.
a hunch for Kurdish.
Oh, what? It's Farsi?
Is it Farsi?
How?
Oh, we're just bad at the game then.
Yeah, we're just bad. Yeah. Because I actually I can't believe that. Because it just didn't sound Indo-European. I don't get it. Oh well.
My only reference of Farsi is a song that I've heard quite a bit. And it has a lot of like a strong T sound that I don't think I heard once in this entire sentence or whatever.
Yeah.
It was my only attachment or anchor to the language, I guess. And it wasn't
Okay, well, I know we're playing at the hard level, but this is going to be easy. This time, Italian, Croatian, or Korean. So, that's not going to be a problem.
Oh, yeah, we got that for sure.
Nice and easy one for us.
Porezna politika i porez na robe i usluge ili GST dominirali su trećim danom izborne kampanje.
Yeah, I'll just click it.
Croatian.
Yeah. Okay, Turkish, Farsi, or Urdu?
بسیاری بر این باور بودند که او حداقل قدرت را برای 1 دهه در اختیار خواهد داشت. نتایج نظرسنجی‌های موجود در آن زمان حاکی از آن بود که آقای راد محبوب ترین نخست وزیر ظرف 30 سال گذشته اما کاهش آمار موجود در نظرسنجی‌ها به همراه کنار گذاشتن برنامه تجارت گازهای گلخانه‌ای و دردسرهای ناشی از مالیات معادن سبب شد تا حزب کارگر در سال 2010 جایگزین او کند.
So not Turkish.
It's not Turkish.
But
I'm thinking of Urdu, but if my memory is not bad, Urdu is quite close to Hindi. I think the main difference is the writing.
Yeah,
but that didn't sound very Hindi to me either. Is it Farsi again?
Well, we are terrible at recognizing Farsi, so let's go for it. Yeah.
I don't even know at this point.
Oh, it's
Gotcha.
Farsi.
Oh yeah, didn't sound like Urdu.
Awesome.
Damn. Wow.
Well, yeah, that was a fun game. I think, like, the takeaway is, for me at least, I'm worse at this than I thought I'd be, but Also, you know, my knowledge beyond Indo-European isn't that great, so there's that.
Yeah.
But it was a fun game to play.
Yeah, for sure. It was very fun. I was also way worse than I imagined. We got some difficult languages that I've never experienced in any way, shape, or form in my entire life.
Well, anyways, thank you for coming to my channel. It was quite a lot of fun for me, and I think you have the right attitude of, you know, having fun with languages and just going for what you like, and I think that's very inspirational, and I hope it is also to my viewers. So thank you. Do check out the link that we have in the description, also to the video that we did for John's channel, and I'm sure you're gonna enjoy that one as well. And yeah, again, thank you, John. Thanks for coming.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me as well, and I really, really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye.